Good evening and welcome. This is a special meeting of the Princeton Planning Board on October 16, 2025. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this special meeting was given by filing a copy with the Clerk of Princeton on October 1st, 2025. Notice of this meeting also has been posted to the municipal website, princetonnj.gov/calendar. Notice that all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Planning Board will be held electronically via Zoom, was transmitted to the Princeton Packet and the Times, and was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on Tuesday, January 17, 2023. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. During hearings on applications for development, members of the public will have an opportunity to comment and ask questions. Public comment is heard by the board after an applicant's representatives have finished their presentations and have been questioned by planning board members and staff. Those wishing to comment orally should virtually raise your hand by clicking on the reactions or raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or if participating by phone, by pressing *9. Oral comments will be taken in the order in which hands were raised. We ask with respect that members of the public express your views in 3 minutes or less. We'll have a countdown clock to help speakers keep track of time. Please note that speakers who exceed 3 minutes will be interrupted. Inappropriate public comment containing obscenity, hate speech, or relating to matters not for the board will be muted. Mr. Lesko, will you call the roll, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Mr. Bodegheimer?
Here.
Ms. Capizoli? Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mayor Frida? Mr. McGowan?
Here.
Ms. Nuka?
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Ms. Perlmutter? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Wilson-Anderson?
Here.
And Chair Wilson?
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thanks. Announcements. Justin?
The only announcement I have is it is likely the regular scheduled meeting next week will be canceled. We'll probably know by the end of this meeting. And if we do, basically this is a special meeting, so we basically just flip-flop them in October.
Okay. So that would make our next meeting November, assuming next week is canceled, November 6th?
That's the next scheduled one, yes.
Yeah, okay. I don't think we have any subcommittee reports, do we? Nope, okay. Well, next up, let's see.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Could I just make a comment before we get started?
Sure.
Different subject entirely. There's lots of signs around town saying, all for Princeton, save historic Princeton, which it basically certainly save historic Princeton and properly Princeton.
Defend.
Yeah.
Defend historic Princeton and Princeton for all.
Right.
Just for the record.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, though. I just wanted to be clear about it.
I think generally people perceive them as supporting, opposing what the seminary is proposing on the seminary site, which is fine. And if board members want to put a sign on their property doing so, I mean, they're certainly entitled to do so. But I think if they do, it raises the specter of a conflict of interest, and I'd be prepared to rule, absent any other circumstance I'm not aware of, that it would be a conflict for them. So I just wanted to advise the board of that.
Okay.
And so that would mean they would have to recuse from consideration of the site plan?
Yes, of the same when it comes back to us.
Just to clarify, there's two different signs. The Defend Historic Princeton is against the seminary, and then Princeton for All is for that development.
Well, that's certainly the perception.
Right.
And I'm sure that some would argue that that there's more nuance and et cetera. But what Mr. Mueller is saying is that we need to be, as board members who will hear the final, the application for the seminary property redevelopment when it does come back to us. And of course, the redevelopment plan is approved, and I believe the town has a memorandum of understanding or a memorandum of agreement. I'm not sure whether it's MOU or MOA with the property owner, et cetera. So it's moving forward, but when it does come back to us for its last review, if members of the board have one or the other of the signs in their yard, there could be a perception of a bias one way or the other, and thus you should either be prepared to recuse or not put not put either of those signs in front of your house.
Yeah, and that's it's unfortunate that would be the case, but that's certainly the most cautious approach. And when it eventually comes back to us, we don't want members of the public saying, "But you had a sign that said blank, and you're obviously biased." So I mean, we want to avoid that, and we want to avoid that conflict potential.
Okay. All right. Thanks for opining on that proactively, Jerry. Appreciate that. If anybody's got any follow-up questions for Jerry, don't hesitate to give him a call, or Justin or something.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if I could just add to that, clearly this whole situation continues to develop. With every time I drive down the street, there's a new different sign that's very clearly directly related to a certain thing. And then there's ones that are maybe possibly related. So I think what our council is saying is kind of the higher view, but these things are going to continue to kind of, it appears, change and become complex or less complex.
Council SEL, not Council CIL, which is not
Yes,
position.
exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And certainly,
good. Okay.
There'd be
Yep.
plenty of signs that raise no issue. We support free speech. There's not such a sign around. So they put it up. Fine, good for you. No conflict there.
No conflict with
If
political campaign signs or anything like
well,
that. I mean, that's they're right. Nothing. Good. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So is Carrie Phillip in the house?
She is.
Oh, please bring her over. We have a proclamation honoring Carrie Phillip for service to the Planning Board of Princeton. Here she is. Carrie, can you activate your camera? That's not her typical mode. When she's with the board, she usually does that. There you are. Hi. Hi. You look well rested. Well, I would like to read this this resolution into the record.
Thank you.
If I may. Whereas Carrie Phillip served the people of Princeton for more than 30 years in a variety of positions and within the planning office for almost all of that time. And whereas Ms. Phillip's dedication and expertise proved invaluable to the Planning Board of Princeton, including ably navigating and adapting throughout extraordinarily challenging times, including the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas Carrie's responsiveness, integrity, and work ethic ensured that board members and the public had the information and resources needed to make informed decisions. And whereas in recent years, and with planning office staff stretched thin, Carrie persevered through periods of very heavy workload, juggling many land use applications along with tasks associated with the comprehensive update of Princeton's municipal master plan. And whereas the board wishes to express its heartfelt gratitude to Carrie Phillip for a job well done and appreciation for the diligence and warmth she brought to her work, therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board of Princeton recognizes, honors, and expresses its profound gratitude for all Carrie has done for and on behalf of the Planning Board of Princeton, And be it further resolved that the board extends best wishes for a long, happy, healthy retirement. Thank you, Carrie, so much. And I'm sorry it took until October
No,
to
this is
make
fine.
this actually happen with your schedule and our schedules and all of that stuff.
I appreciate this. I just want to clarify one thing. When I started in the planning office. So the
Oh.
entire time I have been in planning.
Oh, I thought you well,
Yes.
we'll need to amend this.
If you don't mind.
We will,
Yes.
oh, that is my error.
Oh.
Um,
No, no problem.
so
I don't mean to, interject anything like that, but I just
no,
wanted
I am
everyone
very
to know
glad
that my
because,
dedication
this
was
is for
beyond.
posterity. You're going to, yes, your like great grandchildren will need to know the truth. Right.
Yes.
Yes, we will change so that it reads and within the planning office for the entire time or something like
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, Carrie steps up and keeps me between the ditches. Thank you.
Sorry. I just
No,
can't
no.
change. I cannot change. It's still here. So,
Right.
okay.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm glad that you could join us tonight for this. And once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're on call for when somebody presses the fire alarm, right? When
in a few months, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Now you get to go have a life on this Thursday night. Next up, we have 4 sets of minutes, all from regular meetings. The first set under consideration is from October 17, 2024. Are there any
Didn't we do
edits?
these last meeting? I thought
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Are these the same?
they are.
Uh-oh.
I was looking through the thread and they were attached to the very first email that was before last meeting.
Okay.
Let me double check. I'm not sure. I sent the last email last Friday. But in both meetings, we had 4 sets. So
Well, right. And I remember the last time, there were 3 from 2024 and 1 from 2025, but I think the 2025 one in the last meeting was the reorganization meeting, the January
Right.
or whatever, right?
yeah,
And I
last
think the
meeting,
minutes were from June and July, maybe? Of 24?
yes, we had June 6th, September 5th, September 19th of 2024, and January 9th of 2025 last time. This time we have October 17th, November 14th, and December 19th of 2024, and then February 6th of 2025. So all 4 of them are separate. Unless we sent the wrong files.
Well, so I'll just say, I mean, I'm looking at my thread and they were attached, to an email on the 10th. So I guess that means they were subsequent to the last meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Well, I didn't have a chance to review them because I mistakenly thought we had talked about them last time. So I'll have to abstain from voting on them.
okay. Did enough others get a chance to review them for us to take action? Oh, and I saw your hand go
Yes,
up.
I did.
Okay, and as did I. So let's see, that would 1, 2, 3, 4. Nat, are you willing to vote?
I'm willing to vote.
Okay, that gives us 5. So let's go ahead and do this unless David or Alvin, unless you have an objection.
Not at all.
Okay. Owen, since you raised your hand, are you moving the first set
I
of
will
minutes?
move the first set of minutes.
Okay, the minutes from October 17, 2024.
I
Is
can
there a
second that. I can
Thank
second
you.
that.
Thank you, Pallavi. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes from November 14, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Pallavi Nuka, seconded by Claudia Wilson Anderson. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, next is December 19, 2024,
I'll move.
regular meeting. Thanks, Owen. Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, Claudia.
Well, you spoke, Claudia raised her hand.
Words are louder
Thank
than
you,
actions.
Pallavi. Seconded by
Okay.
Pallavi Nuka. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and then finally, February 6, 2025.
I'll move.
Thank you, Claudia. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Nat. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. So we'll have 4 sets of minutes until we're caught up at most, if not all, of our regular and special meetings. All right. I think my understanding is that the resolutions on tonight's agenda are being tabled. Is that correct, Mr. Lesko?
That's correct, Madam Chair. We're still working with the applicant on getting the language finalized.
Okay. Then on to the application. Tonight's application is from Princeton Public Schools. It is for Community Park Elementary School. It's a conditional use authorization, 372 Witherspoon Street, block 6902, lot 3. And this is file number P2525-685CO. Mr. Mueller, can you speak to proper notice and jurisdiction?
Yes, Madam Chair, we decided to treat this at the last session when we went from the first application to the second application as one application, one hearing. Notice was proper, then we continued it to tonight, right? Justin?
Yeah.
We continued it to tonight, but we had 3 separate hearings, or we have 3 separate applications, 3 separate noticing.
Oh, okay, yeah, the notice was proper.
Yeah.
And the jurisdiction is proper. And we decided at the last session on my advice that we didn't have to swear everybody in, et cetera. And they were all still under oath.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Let's see. Justin, you want to get us started? Then we'll turn to the schools.
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm getting a little feedback. No?
You're okay.
Good.
Okay, now good. Thank you. I will keep this brief, but mostly reiterate what I said prior to the last meeting where the board reviewed conditional use approval requests at Littlebrook Elementary School and at the Princeton Middle School. Then I'll hand it over to the schools again to present their application, which tonight is at Community Park Elementary School on Witherspoon Street. Once again, like last time, I'm going to refer to the planning board as the board and the Princeton Public Schools as the schools instead of the Board of Ed, just to try to keep things clear. And also, like I said last time, the history of these applications is that the schools came to the board for a capital review of the proposal you'll see tonight, a little over a year ago, I think about 13 months ago at this point. The board provided comments back to the schools at that time, and the schools sent in what they needed to the State Department of Education prior to a referendum that was ultimately approved by the voters of Princeton. The schools are back tonight for a conditional use approval, as they were about a month ago for those other 2 ones. This time it's for improvements to Community Park School, and that is the requirement is there because a school is a conditional use in the residential zone. It is located in this case on Witherspoon Street. The schools are exempt from the formal site plan review, though the board obviously needs to see what the schools are proposing in order to determine if the application meets the conditional use standards of section T10B 321 of the municipal ordinance. Here are those standards again in full. Quote, in making its decision on an application for approval of a conditional use, the planning board shall take no action which will substantially impair the intent or purpose of this article. The board may attach such terms and conditions to an approval of such application as in its judgment will preserve such public good or such intent or purpose, and shall be guided by the following principles. A, the local need for the proposed facilities and whether or not the same is adequately served by existing facilities within feasible distance of the area to be served. B, the existence of nuisance factors and whether or not adequate shielding by way of landscaping or distance from the nearest property line is provided to minimize any such factors. C, the effects of the amount of traffic which the proposed use may reasonably generate upon existing streets, the safety of nearby uses such as schools or other places of congregation or public service, the peace and quiet of nearby property, and the use of public right-of-way for parking, service, or any other purpose, end quote. For a school use, our ordinance also requires that the site conforms to the standards set forth in Section 300 of the State Board of Education's 1969 Guide for Schoolhouse Planning and Construction, which was included with the joint report that land use staff wrote on this application and was online and in your packets. In addition to asking the board to address the standards of the conditional use principles that I just read and the standards of that guide for schoolhouse planning and construction, our report also had comments relating to improvements on municipal land and right-of-way that the schools have proposed and traffic recommendations in general. Like we saw last time, probably a pretty similar show tonight based on the materials that we received. I will note one of the improvements proposed is to create a bike path between Community Park School and the municipal pool and parking lot. So it would run from Witherspoon essentially to Community Park. This has been discussed for some time now between the municipality and local biking and parents groups. And there is also one very noteworthy thing that you will not see on this application tonight. And that was the school's proposal to add a paved parking lot in the green space between the driveway at Community Park School and the former Packet building at 300 Witherspoon, where Homestead and Capitol Health currently are. We're grateful that the schools listened to the board and staff's comments to keep that as a green space with trees. I think I can end my part there for now. Mr. Bridger, Mr. Purcell, and Mr. Anasike are here as well. And I should mention there is a traffic engineering report from Mr. Anasike separate from our land use report. And as I said last time, the capital review you heard over a year ago was more of the planning exercise, whereas this conditional use approval is more of the engineering and detailed side. So Madam Chair, that's all I have at this time, unless there are any questions. Thank you.
You're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was a good segue, actually, especially if I had had my audio working, to ask Mr. Purcell, since this is more of a nuts and bolts details kind of thing. Is there anything that you want to draw the board's attention to before we hear from the applicant? Any?
Well, I think I know where you're going with that. First of all, as the planning director has noted, the pathway extension to connect Community Park School to Witherspoon Street has been discussed with the schools, and we're very happy to see their ability to provide that. The recreation department is very excited about the ability for that connection to finally see the light of day. And the second thing is, I understand that, and I believe it was in our municipal engineer's memo to the school district about parking, and that parking has been resolved. We do have agreements that will be in place to provide for overflow parking if there was any concern about that.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Let's see, Mr. Croker, are you taking the lead on behalf of the schools.
Yes, good evening, I should say. Just if I heard correctly, is everybody still sworn in, or do we need to introduce people? We were here September 25th, and I mean, I'm happy to do that. I just didn't know what, I don't want to waste time.
No, we don't have to do it. Same people as last time?
Yes, everybody, the only person I do not, I did see Dr. LaSousa had signed in. I saw him. I don't see him now, but I mean, in no particular order, I'm just going on the order of my the squares on my screen here. We have George Duthie, the board's architect, FEHD Architects, Beth Kenderdine, board's engineer from Edwards Engineering Group, Patrick Downey, the board's traffic engineer from Dynamic Traffic, Daniel Shatoni, also from FDHD Architects, also architect, Mr. Andrew Harris, the board's business administrator and board secretary, is here. And that everybody that I just announced was here with us on the 25th. Like I said, I don't see Dr. LaSousa, but I did see him.
Brandon, if I can apologize for Dr. LaSousa, he had to step away due to a family emergency.
Okay, no problem. All right, understood. Then it sounds like we can continue. I just didn't want to, I didn't know if he was having, I did see him, a few minutes ago, so I didn't know if he was having connectivity problems or anything, but.
Brandon, there's somebody named DeAndrea Battle. Is that one of your people, or is she?
Adria is a planning office staff.
Our planning office.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yes, she soon will be. Well,
she is new.
I don't mean to
she is new, Jerry.
Yes. Yes. Welcome, DeAndrea. Sorry to put you on the spot there. You don't need to do anything. We're all good, Jerry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So I again, like last time, I think your planner, Mr. Lesko, did a really good job of introducing applications. This is very similar to the last time on September 25th when we talked about the middle school and Little Brook. We're here again for conditional use approval, but this time for Community Park, that we ran out of time last time, but the board did take jurisdiction and announced at the last meeting. So we're here tonight for, similar to last time, to seek that approval to allow the board to move further with the referendum projects that are planned. As Mr. Lesko mentioned, we were here, or we had appeared, I think, last September. And as he mentioned, the Community Park initially had two components, but we did decide not to move forward with one based on the board's feedback and, understanding there was some issues with that. But we are here to seek approval for additions and expansions that we are planning to move forward with. And again, like last time, we're here only for that aspect, that the new additions and the expansions, that given that these are existing sites and there's already a school there. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I think all my comments from last time are pretty similar. So
Good.
I think similarly, maybe just I could ask maybe George or Dan to give maybe a brief just overview, and then we'll move to Beth to talk about the plans that she worked so hard to prepare, and then go to Patrick and he can discuss some of the traffic. But so unless the board has any other questions at this time, I think maybe I'll turn to George and ask him just to give the board a quick overview of what we're planning at Community Park.
Mr. Duthie, do you want to share your screen, or are you going to wait for Ms. Kenderdine to do that?
I think Beth can share her screen and show the site plans. I really don't have a whole lot to say. I know you've seen the plans, but again, in keeping with what was done at Little Brook and in middle school, this idea of these compact additions that are, respectful of the site, okay, and the programmatic needs of the school to do a lot of things, including increasing connectivity within the buildings, okay, making therefore some security enhancements as well, enhancing outdoor space, and obviously addressing some of the school's capacity and programmatic needs at the same time. So we just tried to be respectful of those sites, tried to make those compact additions, and just tried to overall respond to what the programmatic requirements were. That's pretty much all I have to say, unless there's questions.
Any questions for Mr. Duthie? Okay, thank you. Ms. Kinderdine? You are, there you go.
Thank you. Sorry. I managed to share my screen, but not to unmute myself. Baby steps. So as George said, the site plan essentially shows 2 building additions to the rear of Community Park School. So obviously this is Community Park School. There's parking along the frontage. This is the pool site in the back of the school. This driveway essentially faces Guillot Avenue. And we're proposing 2 building additions to the rear, sort of an extension on this building wing, and then a large building addition that will create a bit of an open courtyard between the existing and proposed building.
Like Beth,
In addition to that,
Beth, if
we
I can-
are proposing.
Beth,
Yeah.
if I can interrupt for a second, could you identify what sheet this is from? This is from the plan set. Could you identify?
I'm sorry, it's sheet C0.0.
Sheet. Say again.
C-0.0.
Thank you.
Of course.
I think if it helps, I think it's the first sheet or the cover sheet of what was submitted, I think.
Yeah, we called it key plan, but it's
Okay,
essentially a cover sheet. So as pointed out by Mr. Purcell, we're proposing an 8-foot wide asphalt bike lane between Community Park and the pool site to essentially connect from Guillot Avenue across the Community Park property. That bike path will be partially on the pool's property, partially on Community Park's property. That was essentially to try and maintain as much vegetation as possible. There's a couple of large trees there that we're trying to avoid. So that's why the pathway sort of snakes around a little bit like it does. So then in order to accommodate this bike path, we're proposing to reconfigure the walking path around the playground area at Community Park. And we're introducing a new mulched playground right behind the new building additions. And of course, a bioretention basin in order to mitigate runoff from the new building additions and the pavement that we're proposing. So if you'd like, I can move ahead to the existing conditions plan. Unfortunately, it's kind of broken up because of the size of the sheet, but this is the most of the main campus. So you can see there's.
And what sheet is that?
This is sheet C-1.0.
Thank you.
It's labeled as existing conditions.
Existing conditions, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, yeah. So you can see there's one small playground here. There's the Gaga pit. This is the existing building and the existing courtyard. Moving on to sheet C-1.1, which is also existing conditions. And this shows the areas that wouldn't fit on the first sheet, excuse me. So the property line between the school and the pool is approximately in this location, and then this is sort of the match line. It extends down towards the right of way. That's, I'm gonna skip through the demolition plans. So this is, I'm now on sheet C-3.0, called the site layout plan. Essentially just a more detailed plan of what we show on the key map. If you zoom in, you can see that the 2 building additions, the mulched playground, new walkways that will connect all of the doors to the playgrounds. Everything will be code compliant and ADA accessible. You'll see we have ramps wherever we have stairs. And then this next sheet, C-3.1, is a continuation of the site layout plan, and that shows the new bike path along the property line. So you can see these existing playgrounds are going to remain in place. We're just rerouting the walkway around so that we can put a fence between the school site and the bike path in order to provide site security for the school. I think I will. This next plan is the site grading plan. It's sheet C-4.0. And I'm bringing it up just so you can see the footprint of the bioretention basin that we're proposing next to the playground. So that bioretention basin is compensating not just for the impervious coverage of the new building additions and the walkways, but also for the bike path between the school site and the pool. So this is just the grading plan for it's C-4.1. It's a continuation of the site grading plan showing the grading for the proposed bike path. That's essentially the scope of the project. One thing I do want to point out, because it came up at the last meeting, is that there will be a fence around the bioretention basin. I think that's something that people were concerned about for the other two applications. Hold on 1 second. I thought I would just bring up this site plan. So if you'd like, I can go through the comments provided by the planning office, unless somebody has questions that you'd like me to answer.
I think going through the comments is a great idea, just, you know, quickly.
Okay. I'm on page 4 of the planning board memorandum, excuse me, dated September 19th, 2025. Under the additional comments, the first comment is regarding the shared use path, and it requires approval by the municipal council. So we will reach out to, honestly, I guess I'll reach out to the municipal engineer and see
Yes,
how
I
we
mean,
go
Jim,
about getting that.
yeah, I think Jim Purcell is probably managing this. I'm sorry, I can't see him on my screen right now, but yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Madam Chair, I'm the land use engineer at this board. I'm not the assistant municipal engineer, so that would be Deanna Stockton. They can.
Okay,
Yeah.
directly to
That's Deanna Stockton. Okay, I'll reach out to her.
Okay, okay, great.
The second comment is regarding the maneuvering of the path around trees. So they suggest that we consult with the municipal arborist. I don't think anybody at the schools will have an issue with that. We can adjust the width or the path of the bike path accordingly in the field if we need to. I think the most important part to the schools is just that we maintain the fence along their side of the path so that they don't expose any children to security risks. The comment number 3 is again regarding consultation with the municipal arborist for any impact to the trees. Again, we're doing our best to protect the existing trees that are there. Unfortunately, some are going to have to get demolished, but we do have an extensive landscape plan that we've worked with the schools on. And in addition to the landscaping plan, they've also have trees being planted under a grant outside of the area of our project. We so there's going to be significant landscaping across the site.
And I think Dr. Last, I was just going to comment. My recollection is I think he said the grant was for 92 trees, if I recall.
There's a lot of trees going on all three of the schools, and we coordinated with the schools when they were putting together that grant application to put those trees outside the areas we would be impacting. So we have landscaping proposed as part of this project, and they also have additional landscaping going in under that grant.
Now, the number you gave, is that for all three schools, or is that just for Community Park?
No, that was for all three.
It's for all three.
92 is for 6 sites. It's for the 6 building sites.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying, Andrew. That much appreciated.
No problem.
Right, I am moving on. Comment number 4 was about coordination of the temporary fence with the Princeton Recreation Department. That's not a problem. Comment number 5, I will defer to Patrick Downey. That is regarding the traffic recommendations. Comment number 6 is regarding the stormwater management system. As correctly noted, the system is designed to meet the requirements of the New Jersey stormwater management rules, and it will also be reviewed in detail by the DNR Canal Commission. Comment number 7, I think I'm not entirely sure most of these apply. We did speak, I think, briefly about pervious pavement during the last meeting, and I think I made my position pretty clear on that, but we can talk about it again if you'd like. There is no new lighting proposed as part of this, no new site lighting. The only lighting will be on the school building for safety reasons. And this applicant we're not seeking LEED certification. That was comment number 8. So I can now open up to any board member questions, or would you prefer to go to your experts, your professionals?
Well, thank you for that. Are there questions from board members? Mr. Cohen.
I just wanted to ask, I feel like when we did the capital review last year that there was some discussion about fences that would limit access to the courtyard, the new courtyard that's being created. I'm not seeing them on the plans, but I wanted to ask if fences were going in or not.
Yes, there will be a fence located right here between the two buildings with gates for access to the courtyard. So yes, there will be limited access to the courtyard.
Okay.
Well, just to add to that comment, Beth, that gate will be an egress gate. We need to get people out of the courtyard, okay? Because by code, that's a room, and we're also exiting from some stair towers that are dumping into that area right now. So those will have there'll be security exit gates with panic bars on them and all. They'll be secured from the outside.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Mr. O'Donnell, and then Ms. Nuka.
Thank you. Since you brought it up, is your stance still that pervious pavement on the walkways is not going to be implemented?
No, I see very limited functionality in pervious pavement. I think because you need a large section of stone underneath, I don't think it's very cost effective. For this particular instance, the soils aren't even permeable, so it doesn't do much good to me. I would have to collect the runoff anyway and pipe it into some kind of stormwater management system. Really, the DEP looks at it less like a stormwater quantity control than a quality control. So, and in this case, I don't need to provide stormwater quality treatment for the runoff because it's not motor vehicle loaded pavement.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Nuka?
Just, I guess, two quick questions. One, is how deep is the bio-retention basin, that you have next to the, new playground?
Hold on, I think it's about 4 feet deep.
Okay.
Yes,
And so there'll be some kind of fence around it?
yes.
And how high will that fence be? Or,
We have it spec'd at the moment at 4 feet high because we don't
Okay.
want it to look like a big cage on the site. So it'll be
Okay.
4 feet high and there'll be access gates for maintenance.
and then, similarly along the proposed bike path, you'll have a fence along the entire stretch. Will that be
Yes.
will that be a higher fence for privacy?
Yes, I think that's a 6 foot or a 7 foot fence. We're matching existing.
Okay, thank you.
And you had indicated during the last hearing that the fence would be locked and it would only be open
Yes,
for access purposes. Yeah.
Mhm.
of course, yes.
For maintenance.
Rain garden fence, we're back to, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I going back to pervious pavement for a minute, and I know your plan, meets the requirements, and I understand you won't use permeable or pervious pavement here. There are some really, really successful installations, many of them for parking stalls, as well as for pathways, in the state of New Jersey. And so I just, I hope that you'll, continue to at least take a look at it, and for other projects that you work on, it can be, very effective. It can manage a really huge amount of stormwater.
I have spec'd it before, but
Okay.
it's last resort in my toolbox.
All right.
But I'm keeping an open mind.
Good.
Oh,
Thank you.
and
That's
I found
all
the
we
note.
can ask.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the fence along the bike path will be 8 feet high.
8 feet. Okay.
Mhm.
I guess I have a question that, it was not really a question so much as a comment. When you are working with, Deanna Stockton on the pathway, I assume that, in fact, I know that she'll have, guidance about making the appropriate connections to the west and to the park and to the east, onto, or across Witherspoon Street. And I just, I'm saying from a planning perspective, it's really important that those connections be, simple and effective. And that we're delivering, the people who are using that path, into neighboring properties in a way that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure that Deanna has put a lot of thought into that. And I see that Jim has activated his camera. I don't know whether you want to speak to that at all, Jim.
It's being coordinated with the current design of the improvements to Community Park South.
Great. Perfect. Thanks.
And at the other end, it's like right opposite Geo,
Yes.
which connects to the Geo path, which is
Okay,
the
perfect.
ideal connection to the schools, to the high
Great.
school. and
That's
school.
what I was, that's what
Mhm.
I hoped, and that's what it looked like to me, but good. So there's already a raised crosswalk right at,
Yeah, I think it's right here.
right at Conti's, and yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, did you have a different?
Yeah, I did. I just, I want to add my appreciation for the bike path. I think it's such an important part of our safe routes to school. So it's not just for the municipality, it really is for the schools, for the older school kids who live in the western whole, half of town, actually. The one question that I do have is, I feel like there's been a little bit of concern when this has been discussed in the past about the safety of the bike path fenced in on both sides after dark. And the idea that there's no new lighting proposed obviously suggests there's no lighting for this bike path. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I don't want to be making a request that's cost generative for the schools, but if the municipality wanted to, obviously this is right up against municipal property. If there were a way for us to assist with getting electricity to the area and, sort of putting the lights on our property, but sort of doing it as part of the construction, because as long as we're doing the work, it seems to make sense to do this together with that. I wanted to raise the question as whether that could be possible and coordinated. And Jim, you should probably turn on your camera again.
I'm trying to be, very selective in my hats. I think that's appropriate. And I think that it really would have to be part of the discussion of the recreation department and what they desire. The major desire here for this pathway was for a connection for Community Park South to be able to access from our parking area and Witherspoon Street. So I think that's a continuing discussion, Councilman Cohen, that is worthy of having. I don't think it needs to be placed as a condition on the school district to work with us, but I think that lighting from municipal property is probably something that can be accomplished.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's important. Okay, any other questions from planning board members or staff before we move on to public comment? Not seeing any, so.
Madam Chair.
Oh, yep.
I think that the schools still need to discuss their traffic plans as well.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm
I was gonna say,
sorry.
maybe
Yep.
we could, was probably
Getting
gonna
ahead of myself. I
ask,
apologize.
Patrick Downey to maybe speak to the traffic concerns before we move.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Pat Downey with Dynamic Traffic again. I recognize I remained sworn from the last meeting when we were here. And I guess, Beth, if you don't mind, I'd maybe just ask that you put that key plan zero sheet back up. No, it's fine. Just so everyone has something to look at as we discuss various parts of the plan.
There we go.
So very similar to the last two presentations you heard me give, just in a little outline of our process. We obviously were brought on and started with meetings with the school to understand what their needs were, performed our own site observations while school was in session before the end of last school year, reviewed the proposed plans, and then have initiated correspondence with the municipal engineering staff to discuss some of the improvements we identified that could be made within the municipal right-of-way of some of the surrounding streets. Within the memorandum we submitted as part of the application package, we summarized first the trip generation of this proposed project. Obviously, with this additional space in the building comes some additional capacity for more students. As I did mention in the last meeting too, that additional student increase is something that's really coming either way due to population growth throughout the municipality. It's not proposed, quote unquote, in the same sense as most land development applications that the board hears. But even so, looking at what additional trips would be generated using ITE rates for the student capacity increase for these expansions, it still doesn't rise to the level of what would be significant, which is what DOT would define as 100 peak hour trips. And again, a trip is a one-way movement. So 50 parents, dropping off and then departing in the morning, for example, would be 100 trips, and it falls below that even. That's partially due to the fact that a lot of the existing student population does use the bus. Over half the students which is great. We love to see that. And that is expected to carry on to any additional students that would come as part of the capacity increase. In terms of some of the proposed improvements, we did identify some on the streets, and we have the September 18th memorandum from Deanna Stockton regarding the municipality's review of those suggested improvements and what they've agreed to implement at this time. There are 3, so that I'll just read into the record for everyone's reference. First, there is some shared parking occurring just left off the page at the Community Park South parking lot, which has some spaces designated for use by school staff. The agreement was most of the existing signage for school parking in that lot is faded and unreadable. The municipality will add or replace the parking signage. Number 2 was regarding the exit from the school property down to John Street at the bottom left of the image on your screen. Specifically regarding some enhancement to really highlight that that is a one-way egress from the school property, that you cannot continue from John Street north into the school property there. The municipality will review allowable signage and pavement markings to further enhance messaging to the public roadway ends at the northern end of John Street. And lastly, at the eastern side of the property against Witherspoon Street, where the bus activity occurs today, the municipality will consider installation of bus-only pavement markings to further enhance the designation of the roadway shoulder as a bus area. Moving on to the site parking, as part of our observations last school year, we quantified the existing parking demand midday once everyone had arrived for the day, and found an existing parking demand of about 74 vehicles at the peak time. With the capacity increase, there's up to 12 staff additional anticipated. So even if we conservatively assume that each of those staff brings another personal vehicle, we're looking at a parking demand of about 76 spaces. When you consider the parking spaces provided in the schools lot and the ones available to them in the Park South parking lot, there's a total available supply of 94 spaces. So 94 supply versus a demand of 76. So there's more than enough parking to accommodate the project even with this expansion. In terms of bicycle parking, similar to the last 2 applications that you heard at the last meeting, we would agree to install whatever bicycle parking is necessary to comply with the ordinance requirement. It's a bit of a complicated calculation, but we would work that out as part of resolution compliance and ensure that we are compliant. And in fact, we may go above and beyond that. We've seen a lot of bicycle activity at each of these schools, which we want to continue to encourage. So if the school feels it's appropriate, we might actually go above and beyond that minimum requirement. And lastly, I'll just mention we received the September 24th memorandum from the board's traffic consultant, Bowman. They asked for some additional information, which we provided in writing prior to the last meeting. Overall, we take no issue with those comments, and we believe they've been addressed. And that is all I have in the way of direct. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Questions from board members or staff? Claudia Wilson Anderson.
As it relates to the period during construction, what kind of disruption would you expect, and what would the timing of construction be as it relates to construction and detours on Witherspoon Street or pickup and drop offs at school?
George, our architect, I think might be able to provide some more information.
Sure.
Really, a lot of the construction is building related, so I'll kick that over to George.
So as right now, our plan is to enter the site really back in the existing loading area, which is right behind the cafeteria. That small little cutout area, there's a fence there, a vehicle fence they keep locked right now. Our plan is to come in that way and to feed the construction project by driving around and restoring everything at the end. No impact expected to Witherspoon Street, no impact expected to the front parking or driveway loop. And more importantly, no impact is going to be expected to anything that's on the far western, I guess that's the western end where the main playgrounds are. And Beth, maybe you can just blow that up a little bit and try to show you what I'm doing. But the area where the pointer is right now will remain relatively intact. Most of the impact we're looking will be on the north end of the site towards where the additions will be, and then access, Beth, will be from that drive off of Witherspoon. There you go. right there. So that construction vehicles will access the site from that direction. And essentially, we're going to put a construction fence up actually to keep the entire, western end of the site isolated from the construction. So that's the plan right now.
With construction being going on while school is in session?
Correct. Yes, on the additions. That's correct.
Are there any precautions that need to be taken as it relates to the children and air quality?
All of the precautions that need to be taken will be taken during the construction. There will be contract requirements outlining what those requirements are that the contractor has to implement for dust control, noise control, access to the site, traffic, safety, and all those things. And by the way, there's a construction manager also who will be on the site every day to make sure that those things are taken care of by the contractor.
Thank you.
Justin Lesko?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention for everyone's knowledge, because it was alluded to before, but the municipality has also been working for at least 2 years now on a plan to upgrade Community Park itself. And as part of that plan, there was a planning process through the Recreation Department that I was involved in a few years ago, and the PEC was involved in it, as well as other groups. But the decision was ultimately to keep things mostly where they are now. The parking lot where it is, the tennis courts where they are, the big loop essentially where it is, but to really just upgrade the park itself. So additional lighting, more ADA accessibility, a bathroom, finally. So I just bring that up to say that as the schools are sprucing up Community Park School, the municipality is also sprucing up Community Park. Neither of which are actually changing things in any, way that's going to kind of completely change any of the way they've operated for decades now, but just to kind of improve those.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Anosike. Victor, there you go. Still cannot hear you though. Although your it looks like your audio is active, but we cannot hear you. Can anybody else hear him?
No.
Okay.
I cannot.
It's always good to know it's not just me. So Victor, when this happens to me, I have to reboot.
When it happens to me, sorry, Madam Chair,
yeah.
Because this does happen to me a lot, I use the caret next to the audio icon, and sometimes you could change your microphone over there.
Ah, okay. Well, it looks like.
And if none of that works, Victor, you can text me and I'll tell the board what you were trying to say.
Just to give another option in terms of logistics,
Yeah.
'cause that happened with clients before. I can like call them and put it on speakerphone in my office and then do it that way. So I don't know if Victor
Okay, well, we'll figure out something. You're right. We need to do a workaround or may need to do a workaround. Thank you. Owen O'Donnell, did you have a question?
I hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. My question was really for the traffic engineer regarding the recommendation I think the recommendation was that the existing entrance to the building will be closed and moved to the west. Am I correct?
So
Are you gonna-
one of the ideas being kicked around is to essentially change which door that the students are brought in when they drop off at the front of the school property. I think that'll be worked out with the school. If it turns out that it continues to work fine as it does today, maybe they won't go forward with that. But it's just one idea we threw out there for consideration because sometimes it helps draw the drop-off activity further into the site. What you don't want is to have this nice long drop-off lane where only 1 or 2 spots ever get used because they're in the prime position. But it will only be implemented if necessary.
the visitor
Not able to, could not hear what you just said, Mr. Anusike.
Victor, you're having connectivity problems, I think. I know if I may, what the issue is that even today, with school drop off, parent behavior is to drop off their children as close to the entrance as possible when they pull into the driveway. And the idea is that the school district should be looking at changing the behavior of the parents to move the drop-off area further down the drive, closer to John Street, and that way get vehicles off of Witherspoon Street more quickly. I think that the school district has indicated that they're looking at on-site traffic control to a greater degree, and that potentially means having the children at the first thing in the morning enter through a more westerly entrance. Is that, did I encapsulate that correctly, Victor? Nod your head, or is that where you were going?
Yeah, I mean,
Breaking up a little bit, but you can give it a shot. Yeah, no, that's not working. Sorry. While you troubleshoot, Ms. Nuka?
Thank you. So first of all, I just want to commend the thought that went into the traffic management plan, and I appreciate that you are considering providing significant amount of bike parking. I think it's really important to encourage more folks who can to encourage more school children to use their bikes to come to school. And so if you can provide additional bike parking, that's one step towards kind of reinforcing that message. And then just in terms of the traffic management and parent behavior, this is an issue that we see across other schools as well, at Little Brook in particular, as well as Community Park. So there has to be, I think, maybe some more direct messaging by the district, by the PTOs on that front. I mean, that's kind of out of the planning board's purview to try to shift parent behavior, but that's definitely something that the district and the schools can do. And just explaining to parents to, if their kids can't walk or bike, and a car is the only option, then they just need to, there are places to drop them off, and it doesn't have to be directly in the front door. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Nat Boddigheimer?
I just wanted to say this is an issue in a lot of different places. I mean, first off, in the movies where everyone parks directly in front of where they want to go, but in transit, kiss and ride parking lots, people do exactly the same thing. I mean, it's if you're going to do this, it's going to have to be designed. Like you have to, if you don't, people, like you can create bus loops that have got privileged access, but people in cars will still drive into the bus loop if that's where they can drop people off closest to the door, unless you ticket them. I mean, it's just, that's what people will do in front of schools, from transit agencies. It's maddening, but unless you make it a no-go zone for cars that are dropping people off, they're going to go there. It doesn't matter. That's just.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, again, this is not a thing that we can solve right here. And I do, it's important for people to bring it up. It does certainly fall into flat traffic flow as well as safety.
The tragedy
things we're looking at, but maybe, part of the solution is having, people out there helping with letting parents know exactly where to pull up, what to do, people with yellow gloves or something, helping, helping drivers
paintball guns.
Understand what's allowed and what's not. Yep, I know, but sometimes that's helpful. People respect crossing guards, right, Councilman Cohen?
No.
people in cars feel like they can go wherever their wheels will take them.
Yes.
They'll drive on the DNR canal. I mean, I just can't believe where people park in Kingston. There's no barriers, and they drive into a wildlife area. It's just insane. I mean, people behind cars become mentally diseased. That's the end of this.
Okay, well, we're
right,
we're
even
far
our
afield right now. Yep, Pallavi.
I was going to say even Princeton parents, but there might be some ways of having some soft barriers or cones in that stretch right in front of the doors, and somehow trying to clearly delineate that, and also just repeated messaging to parents.
Yep. Thank you all for that. So, Mr. Anasike, I don't know whether I hope that the issues that you raised have or wanted to raise have been discussed, and I don't know whether we can hear you yet, or whether you've had a chance maybe to communicate through Mr. Purcell or Justin Lesko. Anything else from you, Victor? Okay, seeing no. Okay. Are there, Mr. Croker, any other witnesses that you want to
No, I don't believe so.
invite to present? Okay. And any other questions from board members or staff before we go to public comment? Okay. There are 9 people in the attendees room. Now is the time, and we do have one person with their hand up, Evan Anderson. Anybody else who wishes to address the board should raise your hand virtually right now. Click on the raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Not seeing anybody else, but like I said, if you want to speak, please raise your hand now. Let's see, have we brought over Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson, I see your image on the screen. Can you activate your camera and unmute yourself? And then Mr. Muller will swear you in.
And maybe we can take the
image down. Yep, thanks. So Evan Anderson, you've been brought over to give comments to the board. Can you activate your camera and unmute yourself, please? Evan Anderson might have stepped away. Oh,
yeah,
no, there you go.
Yes, there we
Hello,
go.
welcome.
Hi.
Mr. Muller will swear you in now.
If you can raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
So sworn or affirm. Please state your full name, spell your last name, and indicate what street you live on.
Yes, sir. Evan Anderson, Anderson. I live on 302 John Street. I happen to be the house directly next to the basketball court right next to on John Street, right next to the park. My main comment is big picture. We have this addition going on, and by the way, I have a child at Community Park School. So we have this addition going on. We have the park upgrades, and I'm occurring, and I'm heartened to hear from Justin that there's been some coordination between the two. What hasn't been mentioned, at least in this meeting, is across the street, the DPW lot is proposed to become dense housing in the foreseeable future as part of the fair share rules. And I'm supportive of that. But given all these three projects occurring in a really tight area, I'd like someone to speak to the consideration for making this a harmonious area, given the three construction projects going on in the next couple of years. It doesn't sound like that much consideration has been given to the streetscape entering John Street from the school, the both the traffic and the walking paths. So if, as well as parking, which was addressed some, but if someone could comment on that, I'd appreciate it. And then I have one other minor comment.
Okay, Ian, can you stop the clock? Justin or Jim, whoever is the right person, can you speak to the coordination of those three projects at all? Because I certainly take your point, Mr. Anderson, and you're right there. With an addition of your own.
Yes.
Which looks great, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Louise.
Mr. Lesko, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know the scheduling off the top of my head right now, but we could certainly follow up with you on that. Just generally speaking, I think the schools or the park one is going to begin first, but that's also going to be done in phases. And I think actually the tennis courts are going to be the last phase, so that might be furthest away from your house. But again, we could look into it, and let you know what exactly is going to happen. Maybe the schools can elaborate on their timeline next. But I know for the fourth round plan, the affordable housing that's slated to go across, that still needs to, an ordinance needs to be created by next March. A site plan would need to be reviewed. We need to move out our DPW. There is a requirement in state law that municipal properties that are slated to become affordable housing, shovel has to be in the ground within 2 years. But when you compare that with the things that I just mentioned, that sounds like that would take a lot longer than 2 years. But it's certainly something we can, knowing full well that all these three things are going on around the same time, we can make sure there's a plan for.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Justin. Can I reach out to you? Are you the most appropriate person? Reach out to?
I'm happy to be involved. Our engineering department would be more on the ground of what exactly is going on. So either Jim when he's wearing a different hat, or Deanna Stockton. But please keep me in the loop if you'd like as well.
I appreciate it, and I understand these are different projects with different responsible parties and very different timelines. That is why I have a little concern that they're not going to be planned in coordination and harmony with each one, because they're going to be just focused on separate projects. And I understand it takes a lot of coordination between the school board, the township, and what I believe would be the housing association.
Well, it's a municipal project, so I'm sorry, David, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in because I think what Evan's talking about is not so much how to coordinate the construction, but rather how to coordinate the public realm upgrades to the public realm that recognize the new and different things that are going to be going on these three sites. And I think it's a really good point. And I think council will be working with the developer of the housing to come up with their plans, and I will certainly bring that concern to the conversation. I have not been that involved with the park, so I'm going to leave that to staff to follow up on. But I think, I think that there's probably not an impact on the school's plans to upgrade, the bicycle, pedestrian, and automobile facilities on that end of John Street, and maybe it's affecting Birch as well. It's really, I think it is a municipal task, so not so much something for the schools, but I'll try to make sure that that gets factored in. I think it's a good point.
And just to
Thank
chime
you.
in, I mean, we're only here about the school property. We can't control third parties or the municipal property, but so I understood there's a lot going on, but just the scope here, we're only talking about the expansion at Community Park School. But I don't know if George maybe could speak to the timeline just for information purposes to your question.
Thank you. That was going to be my next question.
I was gonna offer that. Yeah, we're expecting to hopefully go out to bid in January or so, or somewhere between November and January, and start construction in the spring, more importantly, and probably construction of those additions. I'm expecting to take about 2 years. Yeah, maybe 21 months. Okay, so 21 and 24 months for the additions. There'll be renovation work as well, but that'll take place afterwards and during the new construction. So that's what I would expect to see. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. And just, thank you, Councilman, too. You were correct. I'm sure we'll have questions on the progress of the construction. I'm right now more focused on the planning of a thoughtful, harmonious streetscape, especially given that Jackson Witherspoon neighborhood has in the past not always been a focus of urban planning. And I have one quick comment. I'll make this really quick, but on a lighter note, the retention pond is of course a good idea. My comment is a 4-foot retention pond in the middle of the school playground. Kids will all the time go into it. They won't do it during the school because of teachers. They will do it at night and on weekends. If it's just plants there, I assume that's not unsafe for children, but I guarantee that my son and every other kid, they see a fence, they will jump it and they will play in it because it'll probably be a really fun place to play.
Well, we will not throw you or your children under the bus in this public forum, but please tell them not to go over the fence. It does, however, was that the second thing that was your second point that you were? Okay. So it speaks, I think, to the wisdom maybe of making sure there is signage on the fence around the stormwater basin to make clear to kids and parents that they should not enter.
Yeah, that will not work.
I see you too.
It's so hard.
I'm
it's
just
a
saying
difficult
from
situation.
Yeah. I mean, those are it can be very effective for stormwater management. It's really important. There are other ways to manage stormwater than rain gardens, but that's what
you will have kids in there every weekend. I'll see them from my property, and I just hope that it'll be safe in there when they enter.
That is
how deep
that is for the schools to figure out.
Understood.
Mr. Mueller, did you want to say something here?
How deep can the water get?
Probably going to be about 4 feet deep during a 100-year storm event. So for a typical storm event, it might get 1 or 2 feet deep. It won't be that deep for anything more than probably 12 hours, or shouldn't be. It's designed as a detention basin, not a retention basin. So it shouldn't hold water for longer than probably half a day.
Jim, do you have any thoughts on the safety issue? And whether anything else could
be? The only thought I have is that when it rains in Florida, the Florida Department of Transportation sets their standard at if it's 4 inches of rain, nobody should be out in the rain. So if this basin is full of water at 4 feet, nobody should be out in the rain at that kind of storm. So these bioretention basins are meant to drain in a fairly rapid time space, and all of our concerns about children playing in ponds, these aren't ponds. They're very large rain gardens, and I think we're overthinking this. Yes, kids are going to climb the fence and they're going to get into it, but they're not going to be doing it during a rainstorm.
It should be dry most of the time.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, I should point out that we're required to design this for a much more significant storm event than has really ever happened. We're required to design for future storm events, like a theoretical, much larger storm event. So if this basin is full to the top, we might be pairing the animals. So.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks, Mr. Anderson. Justin, you have a
Madam Chair, I know the high school has a basin kind of, I don't know the rooms in the high school that well, but kind of towards
It's right on Walnut.
Right on Walnut.
On Walnut,
Yeah.
not the one that the board reviewed a couple of years ago that doesn't have a fence, but the other one.
Yeah.
I imagine, or does anyone from the school side know how that compares? And if there's any issues ever, I imagine a high schooler is probably going to jump a fence more than an elementary schooler. Have there been any issues or I'm sure if there was something that like what we're worried about tonight, it would have been on the news. So does anybody on the school side know how this compares?
I mean, I'm not aware of any issues, but I mean, I think last time with respect to the detention basins we were talking about, I mean, we agreed they would be locked at all times. They would be, secured. That just to be clear, students are not, or children after school are not allowed to go in them, and they would be breaking the rules to do so. But we are agreeable to put up signage just to further deter them, and we certainly, don't want that to happen. But they, as Beth said, they should be dry, most of the time, and they're designed for 100-year storms, which hopefully we won't see for a long time. But I'm not aware of any.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had 7 100-year storms in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
sorry to disabuse you of the sanguine comment.
But the 500 or 1,000-year storm, I mean, those are, that's when that's really going to fill up. And even then it'll drain pretty darn fast. Or as Beth noted, we'll be leading the animals 2 by 2. Pallavi Nuka?
I think, Beth has designed these detention basins in accordance with all requirements and with that standards.
Which are stricter than they used to be, which is good.
Correct.
Pallavi?
Just to clarify, at the high school, I think the detention basin that you were referring to, which is fenced, that is actually used as in the curriculum. Different teachers have used it over the years for teaching biology or psychology and the like. So, I mean, there's potential for that detention basin at Community Park to become something that maybe teachers could use.
Absolutely.
I think we had recognized that last time with the ones we talked about.
Yeah, that's right.
Or, on September 25th as well, that they could be teaching tools as well.
So any other members of the public wish to speak? I'm not seeing any other hands go up. So with that, I will close the public comment portion of the meeting and invite any final questions, comments, thoughts from board members. Mr. McGowan?
Maybe I missed it, but as particularly with respect to this project, was there any comment as to green roofs, solar panels, or EV stands? Or are they going to be installed, made ready, or?
Can you speak to that, Mr. Duthie or Ms. Kinderdine?
Sure. Yes. There is an initiative in the district right now, a separate path of a solar study that's being done, and maybe Andrew Harris could provide an update on that. But there is an effort. As you know, the roofs have all been replaced. One of the goals is to make those roofs solar ready, and that's being studied now. But there's been changes in the solar marketplace that could have an impact on public solar projects. Okay, so maybe Andrew can. I don't know. Do you have anything further on that? I know we have that consultant, Andrew.
Yeah, there's discussions going on at the board level now, the BOE level, regarding putting solar on the roofs of the buildings. So hopefully there'll be more to come on that in the next few months.
Yep. So it's a study going on.
And
It's outside the
outside.
I mean, outside the applications we're here for tonight. Just
yes, and outside the referendum, right?
And when we talked at last time, there was an agreement to make some of your parking stalls EV ready. Are you?
Well, I'd like to clarify that because I don't know about making a park. I think what we said we would try to do, if we can. I mean, we do have budget constraints and we do have electrical service size constraints too, especially since the projects are designs are finished, but is to provide infrastructure within the electrical panels and gear, I think is what I had said last time, so that at a later date, if there is a decision to add charging stations, we would have the ability to feed those charging stations from our electrical switch gear that's being installed, the new gear that we're putting in the additions. Okay.
And I think it's okay. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And I would also note that there are EV chargers at the municipal building very close by that frequently have open capacity. So I that may be significant here, Mr. Cohen.
I was just going to comment also, this application does not include any new parking spaces, whereas the other ones did. So I think it would be less appropriate for us to be insisting on something like that here.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions from board members? And if there are none, would someone like to, well, Mr. Muller, do you want to go? Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I did communicate with Victor Anasike, and just for the record, he would like me to put on the record that there had been a discussion about potentially changing the or creating a sidewalk on site that would. His concern was that there appears to be a pathway that is created, and it looks like it is because of students basically jaywalking, and whether or not the school district was going to go forward with changing the on-site sidewalk pattern to keep that from happening. I believe that pathway across the lawn that probably should require a sidewalk. I believe that it is, and I'd like the applicant to answer this, due to students that get off the bus, not students that don't cross at crosswalks on Witherspoon Street. But it was a concern of Mr. Anasike that the idea of changing the sidewalk pattern near Witherspoon Street was because of concern of jaywalkers. So I don't know if Patrick has anything to say about that, but if he could, or if somebody who
Can you,
had
I'm
brought up-
unclear about the location
There
of the
was-
jaywalking. Is it across Witherspoon or?
You know where the school buses drop off. There is a sidewalk pattern on that side of Community Park School. That it appears that from the pathways across the lawn that are
The beaten paths?
the beaten paths across the lawn, makes it appear that students may be crossing Witherspoon Street, not at crosswalks. And there was some consideration of changing or putting in new sidewalk in those pathways, as we tend to do, right? If we see a beaten path, we're going to improve that beaten path because that's the pathway of least resistance. So Victor's comment that he wanted to put on record was that he was concerned that there needed to be some changes to prevent students from not crossing at crosswalks. Somebody from the school district may be able to answer that. I think I answered that question in my own understanding of the way students arrive at school and leave school. But there was something in the reports that led Victor to understand that the school district was looking at changing potentially that sidewalk pattern.
Jim, I don't really understand. If
Beth, can you bring up the site plan?
Yeah, I'm also a little unclear, but I mean, I would say, I'm sure I can speak for the school that we would be supportive of the students crossing at crosswalks and
because
would
if
not
the
recommend them cross elsewhere.
If the idea is, if the suggestion is to pave some of the beaten paths, which are not at crosswalks, that's just, and the kids jaywalk to get to them, basically paving those paths will increase the jaywalking.
No, the point is that the current sidewalks, I'm not 100% sure myself what it is, but Beth, can you zoom in on where I'm talking about where the school bus drop off is? Yes.
It's in here. I think
Yes.
the way you phrased it, it made me think that Victor was concerned that the school district was going to pave areas that walkways that students currently use and thus support the idea of jaywalking.
Yes.
Yes. So we're not proposing any new sidewalks along the Witherspoon Street right of way. As you can see.
And if the kids run across the lawn after they get off the bus.
Correct.
So what?
No, I understand that. I understand that. I understand that, Madam Chair. But the point was that I'm not, and unfortunately, Victor doesn't have audio. There was something that raised his concern about it because it was addressed in the traffic report in some way. And I just wanted to make sure that it was on the record that the idea of changing the sidewalk pattern wasn't going to create jaywalking because jaywalking doesn't exist right now. And that's what I wanted the school district to say, not me to say.
Yes.
So
yeah,
jaywalking across Witherspoon is not happening because
Correct.
The walkers are getting off of the bus and going, straight to the front door instead of following the
But
pavement.
I don't want to testify on behalf of the school district.
Yeah, understood. Okay.
Well,
Nor do I, but I now understand both the pattern and the potential for miscommunication, misunderstanding. So yeah.
So if the school district could confirm that there's no plan to change the sidewalk pattern and encourage jaywalking, I think we got it covered.
That's correct.
If I understand it correct,
sidewalk and encourage jaywalking. Agreed.
I'm
Good.
sorry.
Thank you.
Brandon, were you the one who spoke? What did you say? I didn't catch it.
No, I started to speak, but then Patrick Downey chimed in, but I was just going to say, if I understand the comment, I think I was going to say I can confirm we're not encouraging jaywalking and not proposing new sidewalk, but I don't want to cut Patrick off or what he said.
And that is basically what Mr. Downey said, who is the traffic engineer.
Thank
Is
you.
that correct, Mr. Downey?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with Mr. Muller that if we were to pave, even if they're beaten past, if we were to pave them, I think we would be condoning that behavior or essentially encouraging it, or at least acquiescing to it, and we're not proposing that.
Okay, so before, well, I guess, before a motion, Mr. Muller, you want to go over any
It's just
comments? I mean, I know that, or I think I recall that the schools said that they were amenable to the suggestions in Deanna's memo. Is that correct? And that they were inclined to provide plenty, air quotes, of bike parking, which was strongly encouraged by or supported by members of the board as well. Were there other conditions, Mr. Lesko, or David? I see you moving forward.
I just want to sort of correct your characterization of the bike parking. They said that they would provide bike parking in accordance with our ordinance, and possibly more.
And possibly more because they agree I don't want to put words in your mouth. And possibly more, period, full stop, or?
Well, I think what my recollection is that Patrick spoke and he said we would agree certainly to provide at least the minimum number that would be required by the ordinance, but may go above that. And I think it was something to that effect. But
that's correct.
So that's doesn't need to be a condition then. Yeah. Justin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I think one thing that we probably want to just memorialize for the record is that there is going to be a fence around that bioretention basin, as well as those fences and gates from the courtyards. And again, that's really just for the record, because the schools said they were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one other thing I would add, I know there was a little discussion about this before, but those lights on the bike path, and I think there was a comment of we're not going to make a condition out of that, so feel free to just completely shoot this down. But I don't know if for the record you want to put something of, the board recommends that municipal staff and school staff work on that, just so that doesn't go by the wayside. Not that I'm saying it will, because I think our staff is well aware of that, but I don't think it could hurt to acknowledge that having an 8-foot fence on one side and at least a 6-foot on the other, there should be some lighting there.
Yeah.
But again, that's the board's, it's up to you.
Right. And I mean, I think that we can be, I'd be fine with being explicit that we're not asking or expecting the board to install the lighting, but rather to work with and cooperate with the municipality as, as this improvement is built, and make sure that lighting adequate to ensure safety is provided for. Is that?
I mean, I think we could certainly.
Mr. Cohen, does that sound right to you as a municipal official?
I mean, what I felt I heard Jim say was that he sort of felt that it didn't need to involve the schools, that we'll bring it up with the rec department and we'll handle it on our side. But Jim,
the path is being added to the school district's project on behalf of the municipality and the recreation department. I think it behooves us in the municipality to provide the lighting that's necessary. I don't think it should be a condition of anything on the school district.
Jim,
And if you want to put that in the minutes, that's fine too.
Jim,
But
the thought by David was just that the school board the school would cooperate.
absolutely, yeah, and they've indicated that.
Yeah.
Simply by putting in the path.
Yes, yes. Thank you for the path. Yeah.
I think we can certainly agree to discuss and cooperate. I think that some discussion was that the lake may be on the municipal property, and
Yes.
we obviously can't control that.
Yes.
There's more to this path than just the construction of it as well. We need to have cross easement language. There's legal language, and the council has to take action. And so it's not a slam dunk that the path is going in, but
But this is a big step forward.
it's a big step forward, yes. And we will, and the municipality and the school district will work cooperatively to put in a safe path for the public.
So maybe not a condition, we'll just note it somewhere in the resolution.
Yep. Great. Anything else, Mr. Mueller?
I'm just going over the, let me just pin down with respect to the path. So we don't, Justin's saying we don't have to put anything in the resolution, which would be fine. Would that include, we're not going to say anything about lighting on the path? Because at one point, about a minute ago, that I was going to put in a condition that said the school would cooperate with the.
It does not need to be a condition. It could be mentioned in the resolution that the path is on the plan and the municipality and schools will
coordinate.
But it is not in the form of a condition.
Okay.
Yeah, just for the record again, it doesn't just my understanding. I believe we added the path and the fence at the municipality's request. Just an attempt.
Yep.
Right.
We understand.
Right.
So that was added after the scope was determined, but we're happy to
Okay.
work together.
The only additional conditions, safety signage on the fence around the retention basin. Then going to the memo from Justin, Derek, and Jim, 5.02. It's a path again, and void existing the tree protection zone. Staff supports this effort. The school should consult with the municipal arborist during construction to ensure existing trees are maintained to the maximum extent possible. Do we want to put that in? I think it would be Jim rather than municipal arborist.
That's standard procedure on any project. Our municipal arborist is involved on single family homes all the way up to Princeton University major applications. I don't think it doesn't need to be a condition, but it's just standard operating procedure.
Okay. Board comfortable with that? We won't make it a condition. And then minor grading is proposed within the lawn area to the west of the school for drainage purposes. Again, schools, this is what the memo says, should consult with the municipal arborist during construction to ensure existing trees are maintained to the maximum extent practicable. Do we want to put that in?
Ms. Kenderdine said they were amenable to that,
Okay.
I believe. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then the stuff that's in the report by Deanna, and I think that is it.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone on the board like to make a motion?
Why not?
Mr. Cohen, moving
Yes.
approval of the, I'm looking for my exact wording on the
Just a
conditional use authorization. Go ahead, Mr. Mueller.
That was it. Just granting conditional use authorization with the conditions articulated.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded by Owen O'Donnell. Justin, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Mr. Bodenheimer,
Yes.
Councilman Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Skip me?
Ms. Nuka.
I think you
Oh, did I
skipped
skip
Ms.
you?
Nuka.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Ms. Nuka.
Yes.
I
Motion
thought you got
passes.
to me sort of
I
quick.
I thought so too. My apologies.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Right. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thanks to the school board members who, as of a few minutes ago anyway, several were in the attendees room. We appreciate all your work on this and look forward to all these projects happening and going off without a hitch. And I think if there's no further business, Mr. Cohen?
I move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you again, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.